Hey guys, welcome back to Preferred Frenchies. Thanks for tuning in again. Today we're going to be talking about Izzy and her upcoming litter here with Mac Daddy. Shout out to Thunder French Bulldogs for having him around, and super excited for this litter. I guess we're going for the confirmation here. Super DNA as well. Izzy here, she's a Isabella new shade carrier. She's an Isabella but carries new shade, so she'd be only one copy short of new shade. And then Mac Daddy, he's a Isabella and tan new shade, Isabella new shade and tan, I guess, and with great confirmation. So super excited for this litter. I'm just going to be talking a little bit here about Izzy. She's from Color Coded Frenchies here. She originally came from Vanessa, and we just brought her in as a super young puppy. I think she was like eight or 9 weeks old when we brought her in, and she's been here ever since, been doing really good, and just really excited. This is her first litter, so I'm just really looking forward to it and hoping to see a little bit more of Izzy here around. So we've been kind of looking at different prospects for an upcoming litter with Izzy, so really just kind of going in depth. We kind of had one picked out, going over some DNA with Mac Daddy and James Brown, kind of comparing them with Izzy's DNA. So you can see here, I'll just kind of go through each one. We got Mac Daddy up here. He's got 2 copies of Tan Points, that's the AT-AT, and then he's got 2 copies of Cocoa, which is the Lilac, and then we got 2 copies of B, which is a testable chocolate, 2 copies of D, which is blue, and then we got negative for Cream, but he does have 2 copies of Mask, and then No Pied, No Brindle, L1, which is long-haired 1, is his gene. So, and then I'll just go over Izzy's real quick. Hers is AT-AT, so she has a copy and a half of Tan. She has Little B, which is 2 copies of testable chocolate. We have 1 copy of Cocoa, so 1 copy of Lilac, 2 copies of Blue, 1 copy of Cream, L4, which is long-haired 4. So of course a visual fluffy Frenchie there for sure. And then No Pied, No Brindle as well for her. So, and then moving on over here to James Brown. He is an Isabella and tan Merle carrying new shade. So getting into that a little bit here, we got 2 copies of Tan, which is the AT, 2 copies of testable chocolate, 2 copies Cocoa, but only 1 copy of Blue, which we'll get into that later, and then 1 copy of Cream and 1 copy of Mask, 1 copy of Pied, and L1, L4. So guys, going from these 2 combinations, we want to kind of try and figure out the probability of what kind of DNA we're getting from the combination of Mac Daddy and Izzy compared to James Brown and Izzy, and kind of see which one would be the right one. So what we ended up doing is just basically what we're doing here, sitting down, going over the DNA. So we're going to be going over the percentages here. I'll just kind of work my way through with each category here, with each of the parents, just going through with Mac Daddy and Izzy, then James Brown and Izzy. So first off the bat here, we got the Tan Points. So with this combination, I'll kind of give you an idea of what it looks like. What I normally do is make like a square, and then we got kind of like a window, and you got AT-A for Izzy, and then we got AT-AT. So this combination would make AT, you pretty much just combine the squares. So this would be AT-A, this should be AT-AT. Then we got AT-AT, and AT-A. So what this is telling me is 50% of these puppies will have AT-AT, so 2 copies of Tan Points, and 50% of these puppies will have a copy and a half of Tan Points, so AT-A. So what we can do here is we can go AT-AT, 50-50. So a 50% chance there for AT-AT for this combination. And these 2, Cocoa, we'd have the same thing. So 50% of the puppies would have 2 copies of Cocoa. Sorry, I actually want to make sure on that. I'm just going to do this real quick. I believe it's the same thing. So we got big CO, little CO, just a quick square here. CO, big CO. Yeah, it'd be the same thing. Yep. So we got 50-50 on the cocoa. So we'll go 50-50. And then for the testable chocolate, we got 100% because they got 2 copies. Both of the parents have 2 copies, so that kind of takes care of that. So we got 100%. The blue, or dilute blue, D is also 100% because both parents have 2 copies. And then we got mask, no mask, no cream. So this is a little bit more of a challenge to figure out. So what we'll do here, the M represents, the M in Mac Daddy's represents mask. So he's got 2 copies of mask, and the E represents cream. And so he's negative for cream because he has the capital letter. If it were lowercase, he'd have 2 copies of cream, 2 copies of mask. But with big E, little m, you got no copies of cream, or no copy of cream, 1 copy of mask. So he's got a duplicate version of that. And then Izzy here doesn't have mask, but she does have 1 copy of cream. So to figure that out, we'll go big E, little m, big E, little m, and then big E, little e. So these puppies will be no cream, 1 copy of mask. Same thing here, no cream, 1 copy of mask. Then down here we'd have one copy that has no cream, 1 copy of mask, and then 1 copy that has 1 copy of cream, but no mask. So pretty much 1 copy mask, 1 copy cream. So a 50% carrier there, and the same thing over here. So we'd have EM, E, little e. So pretty much 50% cream. So what I'll do here, I'll go cream, and I'll go 50%, and then I'll go mask, and I'll go 50%. So 50% of the puppies will have mask. Actually, 100% of the puppies will have mask, carry mask. And yeah, so that's kind of the combination of the two. The L1, L1 and L4, L4, they kind of go together. So they're both long-haired, visual, fluffy Frenchies, and it doesn't really matter in that regard. So you'll probably get some L1 or L4 Frenchies, but it's not much of a difference there. And then no pied, no brindle, of course, with Mac Daddy and Izzy both having no copies of that. That's what little n stands for, so negative 100%. So here, just going over this DNA here, we got 50% will have 2 copies of tan, 50% will have AT, and then 50% will have 1 copy of cocoa, one copy of cocoa, one copy of, sorry, let's do that over. Okay guys, so kind of going over what this means here. So 50% of the puppies will have 2 copies of tan points. The other 50% will have ATA, so a copy and a half of tan. Down here, the cocoa, 50% will have 1 copy of cocoa, and the other 50% will have 2 copies. So, and then the big B, which stands for, or sorry, the little b's here is testable chocolate. You got 100% all the way around. The cream and mask, of course, down here, so 50% will carry cream. The other 50% won't have it at all. And then mask, everyone will carry mask, but no more than 1 copy. So good stuff there. So basically, we have pretty much a 75% chance of getting an Isabella new shade and tan puppy out of this bunch. So 75% of the puppies will be Isabella and tan new shade, and the other 25% will be Isabella and tan carrying new shade. So they'll have that 1 copy of cocoa, which kind of makes the difference since we have both big B, both copies of B, both copies of D, And what we need to make new shade is your both copies of Cocoa, or each one of these three needs to be double copies. So we pretty much got everything except for this Cocoa. So 75% of these puppies should be good to go on that. And most of the puppies will have 2 copies of tan, or 50% will, but they'll all have tan showing for sure. And then getting into James Brown over here. So he's an Isabella new shade carrier of Merle. He's got a copy of Merle, so he'd be an Isabella and tan new shade carrier. So we'll kind of go through this combination here. So we got the biggest difference I see between these two. So Mac Daddy, he's a Isabella new shade, and James Brown is an Isabella new shade carrier. The biggest difference is that 1 D. So you got James Brown missing 1 copy of D. Now Izzy, she does have 2 copies of D, but it's completely fine. But it kind of lowers your chances of getting that combination. So going through here, we got kind of the same combination too. So we got AT. So we'll have 50-50 here for this combination. Eek. Let's go AT, 50-50. And then we got Cocoa, which will have, Izzy only has 1 copy of Cocoa, so we'll have the same combination here as well. You got 50-50. And then we got little B, so we got 100% on that. And then the D is kind of where we run into a little bit of trouble. So we got about 50% having 2 copies, 50% having 1 copy. So we'll go D, 50-50. And then he does have 1 copy of Mask, which is completely fine. It would take this chance down to 50-50. So 50% of these puppies would have Mask. And then Cream would get knocked down to 50-50 as well, since, actually no, it stays the same. So we got 1 copy of Cream here, got 1 copy of Cream there, so we would have 50-50, if you can read my writing. Pretty sloppy there, but it'll be fine. But yeah, pretty much the same thing. The biggest thing I saw with this combination was the 50-50 with both Cocoa and Blue. So we kind of got, right here we got everything else being completely fine except for that 1 factor of Cocoa, which kind of knocks that chance of having Isabella new shade puppies down a little bit with only this 1 or with both of these combinations being out. This just increases the chances a little bit more having that Isabella new shade and tan look compared to maybe striking out a little bit more on this, or having a little bit more of a chance of not getting what we're looking for. So another thing that kind of played into the decision is your pod right here. So Izzy doesn't have any pod, Mac Daddy doesn't have any pod, James Brown does, and it can cause spotting. It can cause like a white chest, which I don't mind personally, but in the breeding world it's something that some people aren't too fond of, so I like to try and stay away from that as much as possible. But 50% of those puppies would have a copy of pod. And the thing with pod, it doesn't necessarily, you don't need 2 copies to show it. So the thing with Testable B, with Cocoa, with Blue, if you have 2 copies of those, most times they'll show. So if you have a combination of Cocoa and Blue, you'll get lilac puppies. If you have a combination of, or if you just have Cocoa, you'll get a chocolate dog. If you just have Blue, you'll get a blue puppy. If you have a combination of all 3 of these, you'll get an Isabella new shade. And if you have Cocoa and Testable B, you'll have an Isabella. And so just a combination of all 3 of those kind of makes it visible. And with pod, kind of what I'm getting back into here, is pod is actually you only need one copy to show pied. So if the dog has one copy of pied, you might see some spotting. Whereas like if a dog has one copy of blue, you probably won't even notice. You probably won't know unless you do a genetic test. So what we kind of ultimately decided here, we kind of went with Mac Daddy here. We're actually expecting these puppies here on the 18th of July. And we went with Mac Daddy because of the better shot at having those Isabella New Shade and Tan puppies here. So just a better overall percentage of hitting what we want to be at. As much as I really wanted some Merles, it kind of just with the confirmation factor as well. I like Mac Daddy's head, just a nice, better, a little bit more of a structure, not knocking on James Brown or anything like that, just my personal preference. And of course those DNA numbers kind of confirming the decision as well. So maybe next time when we're back at it, maybe having puppies again with Izzy, we'll check back in and see if we can find something with a little bit better structure. That's an Isabella New Shade Merle. So hopefully we'll get there in the future, but at the time I feel like this is what's best for us. And I'm really looking forward to these puppies. So these guys are gonna be, I mean, some of the nicest pups I think I'll ever see. So you'll get a really nice combination of that big head, beautiful short and stocky conformation. We were comparing the two, James Brown and Mac Daddy. James Brown was a Isabella New Shade carrier, but he was Merle. And we really wanted the Merle, but it was a little bit difficult to find the good conformation, the better structure, the right structure to have with these puppies. So it was a little bit of a struggle finding that, and we ended up going with Mac Daddy here, the Isabella New Shade, just because of his great conformation. He's got that huge head, just beautiful, short and stocky, really what you're looking for in a French Bulldog. And Izzy here, she's from great bloodline. She has that beautiful and correct conformation as well, with that stocky build and a nice round head. So these puppies should have some really, really nice heads and just beautiful, short and stocky conformation. So if that's what you guys are looking for, you definitely are tuning into the right spot. You can see Izzy just hanging out back here, taking it easy. She's super, super sweet, and she's due here in about 2 weeks. So I think July 18th is her first due date, her breeding date. So, but yeah, everything's coming along very well. She seems to be doing great. We actually did an ultrasound yesterday on Thursday of this week, and the vet said it's a little bit of a challenge to get a head count on an ultrasound, but she does show as at least one pup, or more than one puppy, I should say, in her. But I mean, for me personally, I would guess she'll have 4 puppies at least. She's absolutely huge. You can see she's almost overflowing already. So, and we're about 2 weeks out. So I'm definitely guessing she'll have probably 3 or 4 puppies, or I'm hoping for it. So really looking forward to seeing that. Everything went well at the ultrasound yesterday. They did have an option to do an X-ray just to kind of get a head count, but I don't think we're going to do that since we're so close to the due date, and we can just wait and see. We have a little bit of patience here. So but yeah, really looking forward to it. If you guys have any questions for me, feel free to reach out to me. My name is Jay Miller here at Preferred Frenchies. You can always call or text me at 330-621-3917. Check out our Instagram page. We do have a fluffy page, actually Izzy's own page. It's Izzy the Preferred Frenchie, if you're interested in learning more about her and kind of seeing her develop over the years, and just coming along from a young puppy to where she is now. And we just kind of keep the good stuff there on that page. But we also have a main page. It's Preferred Frenchies. You can check it out. We just keep updated videos up on there for all of the puppies, whether they're fluffy, whether it's short-haired. We do have a couple short-hairs as well. So just a really neat spot to check things out. But if you're interested, let me know. Call or text me. Thanks for tuning in today, guys, and we'll see you next time.